Hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? Welcome into a brand new episode of Spencer Talks NASCAR. I'm Spencer Urquhart here, ready to discuss the EchoPark Grand Prix at COTA, y'all. Circuit of the Americas this weekend. Really excited to see what COTA has to offer. It's been a lot of fun now. 3 years. This will be year 4 driving at this windy track where F1 cars race. I remember when it was introduced to the NASCAR schedule. People are like, how are NASCAR cars going to race on this thing? This thing's too tight. It's too windy. It's not going to work. And the first year was pretty rough with the rain. They raced in the rain, ended up kind of a fiasco. I'm not going to lie. Had some pretty gnarly wrecks there with vision issues for a lot of drivers. But they got through that first year and kept it going. I'm glad they returned to COTA because the racing has been pretty solid over there. You know, it's road course racing. They're not a whole lot of passing, but enough passing to keep it interesting. And so we'll preview that here on this episode. Tyler Reddick won last year's race. We'll talk about him and the rest of the contenders for this one. We're not going to do the full field breakdown this one. We're going to keep it a little more short and sweet. Just go over the main storylines to watch for in this race. And then we'll get to our best bets. We won't keep y'all waiting on that. We've been still doing well with our best bets. Brad Keselowski, top 3 cashed last week. Going to try to keep the momentum going so far. I've cashed at least one best bet every week. This will be week 6. So 5 weeks in, have had solid weeks every week. So hoping to get the outright winner this week. Last 2 weeks, we missed on that, but got some other things right. So you got to spread out your investments. Don't want to put everything on just one guy to win, or you can. I mean, everyone has the right to do what they want. And again, don't bet over your head. Just bet what you can for fun if you decide to do that. But for those that just want to hear about the race, we're going to start off with that. Going to talk about the main storylines here for this COTA race. And the first one I'd like to discuss is Tyler Reddick. Can Tyler Reddick go back-to-back at COTA? I mean, he dominated this race last year. He has steadily gotten better at this place every year. Got a top 10 in 2022, then a top 5. In 2021, got the top 10, then a top 5 in 22. Then last year, dominated the race. And in 2022 was when he really turned the corner. His last year at RCR, Reddick, that is really started showing that he is a dominant force at road courses. He's one of the 5 best in the Cup Series when we come to road courses, arguably the best. I mean, shoot, he's the overall favorite to win this race on Sunday. He won it last year in dominant fashion. So can he do it again? It's definitely possible. I mean, he's had speed this year. He's run well. The only real issue, though, is his pit crew. They've set him back at times, 23-11. Still a fairly new organization, so they haven't been able to quite get their pit crews on the level of, let's just say, Joe Gibbs Racing or Hendrick Motorsports. It seems like every week him or Bubba Wallace are having some sort of issues. And it's stuff that's a lot of times out of their control. I remember Bubba Wallace a few weeks back, the lug nut issue, or they had to freaking cut the lug nut off because they ended up making it too tight on his car. And so it's been a mess so far. 23-11 and pit road, the only team worse than them so far has been freaking RCR. My goodness, what a train wreck that's been. I know firsthand as a Kyle Busch fan, it has not been pretty over at RCR with the pit road situation. But I tell you what, pit crews are becoming more and more important, especially with this next gen car. Some of these tracks are kind of hard to pass. I know Bristol was an outlier last week. That thing was so crazy, unlike anything we've ever seen at a next gen short track race or road course race. But the typical next gen short track road course races are very much to where if you have a bad pit stop, you're screwed. Because if you get set back, it's hard as hell to make that ground up. And Tyler Reddick at Las Vegas, he made it up, almost won the race despite the pit road setback. I believe he was running second behind Larson, then gets set back on the final pit stop, drops to like 10th, and then has to zoom his way through the field, ends up catching Larson, but couldn't quite pass him to get the win. So they came through last year for him, though. Reddick did his thing at COTA. We'll see. I definitely think he can go back-to-back. He's not going to be my pick, though, because these pit road issues, I think, could end up creeping up on him again. Plus, if you're looking at it from a bettor standpoint, he's just such a heavy favorite that to me, there's no value in betting on him to win. But I could see picking him straight up. I mean, the odds makers seem to think he's going to win, and he won last year. Same equipment, same team. So I'm thinking he could. Like Toyota's been the cream of the crop these past couple of weeks. On the last 2 races, their cars have looked dominant. So we'll see. Qualifying, it will be a tell for sure. Normally, I don't even care about qualifying, but at short tracks and road courses, you got to pay attention to qualifying. So we'll see how Saturday goes as far as if Reddick can qualify well, he'll most likely race well. A lot of these guys. If you're one of the guys that's proven here at COTA, as long as you can qualify top 10, top 15, you're good. Even top 20. You just don't want to be starting outside like the top 20 because then it's going to be a lot of work to make up all that ground. But as long as these favorites do well in qualifying, it'll probably be a lot of the usual suspects that run well here. Road courses tend to be a little more predictable than ovals because you tend to have your guys that are road course guys, such as Chase Elliott, who's going to be our next storyline here. I feel like this is a huge week for Chase Elliott because he is known for doing really good at road courses, but last year he had a down year. He got injured early in the season during an off-track ski trip, I believe, to where he missed like 6 races or something. He missed a pretty good chunk of the schedule. And part of that stretch that he missed was here at Circuit of the Americas, one of his best tracks. Won here in 2021, recorded a top 5 in 2022, finished 4th. So, yeah, this is a great track for Chase Elliott, 1st and 4th. I mean, what is that, like a 2-point-something average finish? That's really good. So, yeah, 2.5. I mean, yeah, that's amazing. So, yeah, Chase Elliott needs to not only run well this week, but lead some laps, man. Really break through and show that he's back to being one of the big dog contenders. Someone that's not only running near the top 10, but someone that's near the front, top 3, and winning, being up with the leaders for real, because Kyle Larson and William Byron have shown that, but Elliott and Alex Bowman haven't really shown that all that much. Alex Bowman ran well last week, survived the war of attrition at Bristol with the tires, managed his tires really well. So shout out to Bowman for that. Bowman's another one that's run really well at COTA. I believe he's recorded top 5s the past seasons here. So yeah, him and Elliott need to show out. But I feel like it's even more important for Elliott being that I feel like he's been facing a lot of criticism recently, being that he's the most popular driver, former champion, and just he doesn't really seem like he's got his mojo back yet. He seems to still be stuck in kind of that 10th place range, which isn't bad, but it's not good either. That's not what you want from a superstar driver. I mean, I know even the superstar like Kyle Larson can't run top 5 every week, or William Byron. I mean, Byron had that dud race at Bristol last week through no real fault of his own. It happens. Not every star driver can do it. I mean, that's why there's usually 8 to 10 star drivers. Only 5 can finish top 5. So it's a competitive field, but Elliott has got to show that he's back in that group because right now he's not really in that star group right now. He's not there, in my opinion. He hadn't been in. He started off the year in my top 10 in my power rankings because I was thinking he'd bounce back more than he has, but so far he's fallen out of my top 10 because he hadn't really shown all that much. Granted, he's top 10 in points. He's been finishing races. He's been consistent. He's been kind of like a Jeff Burton-esque start or Clint Boyer back in their RCR days. I mean, yeah, they were solid. They would finish well, but they wouldn't win much. And so Chase Elliott has got to get back to his winning ways because just a couple years ago, 2022, I believe he won the most races out of anybody. He was winning a lot. I mean, he's had years where he's won 4 or 5 races. So, and he's a former champion. So he showed he can do it. His career got off to a little bit of a slow start. It took him a little while to get his first career win, considering he has been in elite equipment from jump with Hendrick Motorsports. But this is a week, though. I mean, he's got to show it. He's got to show that he's back to being the dominant force that Hendrick Motorsports expects him to be. I mean, he's considered like a franchise type driver. I mean, Hendrick's basically got 3 of those with him, Larson, and Byron. But the bottom line is that Elliott hadn't been pulling his weight. He hadn't been at the level of those other 2. So this is the week, though. Elliott's a road course guy, former COTA winner, won the first ever race here at a rain race in 21. So he's got to show that he can not only run well, but finish well near, I would say, top 3. To me, if he anything less than a top 3 is a disappointment this week for Chase Elliott. So he's going to need to qualify well. Like I was saying, at least top 15 qualifying. You don't want to start too far back. And so, yeah, Chase has got to show that he's back, and I think he will. I think he's going to run well this week. But, again, he's up among the favorites, so I probably wouldn't recommend betting on him because the odds makers are giving him his due diligence. They're not sleeping on him. I mean, hell, 2.5 career average finish. I know it's only 2 starts, but numbers don't lie. He's really good here and on all road courses. So we'll see if he can break through and possibly snap that winless streak that's now creeping up to probably close to like 50 races now. So we'll see if he can snap it here on Sunday. Next topic here, Shane Van Gisbergen will be in the field, and he's always an exciting driver to talk about, being that he won his first ever Cup start last season at the Chicago Street Race. And he's back this season, going to start, I believe, 7 races with Colleague Racing. No more Project 91. I guess Project 91 with Trackhouse is going by the wayside this year, being that they are helping Zane Smith over at Spire. I haven't heard any news about Project 91. Hopefully they'll bring it back at some point this summer with like Kimi Räikkönen or maybe a new face, maybe another Australian supercar. Maybe like Brody Kostecki. He ran a couple races last year, and the Kobayashi dude's back with 2311 this year. So it's nice to see some new faces in the field. AJ Allmendinger will still be in the field, even though Van Gisbergen will be in the 16. Allmendinger will be in a third Colleague car, the number 13. We got a few open entries this week. Well, Van Gisbergen, the 16 is chartered. So they'll have the new Colleague entry, the 2311 entry with Kobayashi, and Timmy Hill. Timmy Hill's going to be driving a 66 car, I believe, a Carl Long's team. One of those kind of just piecing it together type things. We'll see if he can do something. Timmy Hill pretty good on road courses, but probably doesn't have enough juice in that car to really make noise. But Van Gisbergen, Allmendinger, and Kobayashi definitely could. And Van Gisbergen's the one that, I'll be keeping my eye on for sure, because he had his way with the Cup field last season. Only made 2 starts, but ran really well in both races. Watkins Glen, a track that the Cup regulars are more used to. Even there, he recorded a top 10, finished 10th. So his career Cup Series average finish 5.5. That's amazing. I know it's only 2 starts, small sample size, but got to give credit where credit's due. And the odds makers are giving Van Gisbergen his due. Shoot, he is the 3rd best odds to win. The only ones better at DraftKings Sportsbook to win right now, I believe, are Reddick and Elliott. And it looks like Ty Gibbs has been gaining a lot of steam with the odds makers. Dang it, I don't like that. I wanted Ty Gibbs to stay on the down low. He's one of my best bets for the week. But anyway, we'll get to that more in a little bit because, I think Ty Gibbs, he's another one that's good at road courses. I think could do really well. But as far as Van Gisbergen, the Colleague equipment, that's a full-time charter team. They're giving him the car. That's their trophy car. That's the car. I mean, last year, AJ Allmendinger won a race in that thing. The Charlotte Roval, that's their car. That's their trophy hunting in that thing. That's the team that, Daniel Hemrick's their full-time Cup driver, but that 16 car, that's the car that they've got their eyes on as far as that's the team that they probably put the most resources in to try to get the win. He'll have the Van Gisbergen will have the WeatherTech sponsorship. He's got the legit backing. They believe in him. Chevy believes in him. I mean, he won his first ever race and said he wanted to run NASCAR, and they were like, all right, bet, we're going to get you in a seat. He's full-time in Xfinity now at Colleague, and I tell you what, if Trackhouse doesn't have room for him next year, don't be surprised if Colleague Racing just goes ahead and makes him full-time in that 16 car, assuming he can bring enough funding. Because, SVG, he hadn't started a race all year, and he's among the favorites. That just goes to show how talented this dude is. Australian Supercars champion. Australian, mate. So we'll see if the Aussie SVG can get this thing done. And I think it's possible. I'm not going to predict it. I think his betting odds are a bit inflated. I think he's a guy that the public is going to give a little too much love to. I still would rather guys like Ty Gibbs, Kyle Larson, William Byron, more proven Cup Series guys over SVG. But I definitely see him recording a top 10. I think he finishes top 10. I don't think he's going to win, but top 10, I think that's a good goal for him. I don't think he should really be worried about, I've got to win. Obviously you want to win. That's the the ultimate goal. But to me, he's just at this point looking to develop his skills in a NASCAR Cup car. So just get a solid top 10, and it'll be his first start with Colleague, a new team. So at the Cup level, he drives with them in Xfinity. So yeah, qualifying will be key as for everybody, but as long as he qualifies pretty well, which I'm sure he will. I mean, he's so quick around these road courses. You saw his pedal cam at the Chicago street race. It was just incredible the way he was working that throttle and brake. I mean, it's an art to it. You've got to really be special at doing that stuff. It's a different art than oval racing. And right now he's trying to learn oval racing. That's why he's not in full-time Cup yet. He's still got a long ways to go with oval racing, but with this road course stuff, he's one of the best in the business. So I think he will be among the leaders once again in the Cup field this Sunday. All right, Team Penske, y'all. Team Penske. It's been a rough go for them. But I'm thinking this could maybe be the week they bust out of their early slump, because let's be real, through 5 races outside of Ryan Blaney, they have stunk. Only 2 top 10 finishes all year besides Blaney. Cindric and Logano have won each. It has been brutal for the 2 and 22 teams. It's wild to think that Blaney, that he's the expansion 3rd team, and he has been the carrying the banner over there. The 2 anchor teams haven't been as good. Although at this point, they've been a 3-car team for so long. I feel like all the teams get pretty equal resources over there. I mean, obviously, Blaney's getting good equipment. He's been running well. And the thing is, though, I don't think he's getting way better equipment than the other guys. Because, I mean, shoot, Joey Logano, he's their longest tenure Cup driver, former champion. Austin Cindric, the son of team president Tim Cindric. They obviously want him to do well. He's kind of like their version of Ty Gibbs. He's like the family prospect who they want to see flourish. But let's be real. I mean, Ty Gibbs so far has looking like he belongs where Austin Cindric, not so much. I mean, he won the 2022 Daytona 500, but outside of that, what has he done in that 2-car? Not a whole lot. But the good thing for him is that he runs well at road courses. He's a road course guy. He's one of the best at road courses. He's got the art down of knowing how to run well at these kind of tracks. And so I think this could be a week that he does really well and helps get Team Penske out of their early slump. Joey Logano led the most laps in the inaugural race in 2021, got a top 5 finish. Blaney, not normally a road course guy, but he's really won at Charlotte Roval that time, got kind of stole that one, then got a top 10 here before. So these guys are capable. I feel like this is a big week for them because everyone is going to be, I mean, look at the odds. Who's the most likely Ford? Because, I mean, you got Reddick, Toyota, Elliott, Chevrolet, Gibbs, Toyota, SVG, Chevrolet, Larson, Chevrolet, Byron, Chevrolet, Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is the next. No, he's Toyota too. What am I doing? I had a huge brain fart there. Christopher Bell is a Toyota. AJ Allmendinger, Chevrolet. Ross Chastain, Chevrolet. All right, here's our most likely Ford, y'all. Michael McDowell at 15-1. Man, I don't think y'all can just go ahead and roast me. I don't even think I'm going to edit that out about Bell being Ford. I don't know what crossed my mind in that moment. I think I'm just going to leave that so y'all can get a good laugh because that was wow. But anyway, yeah, back to the topic here. Michael McDowell, the most likely Ford, 15-1. And then after him, Chris Buescher, 28-1. Holy crap, y'all. Ford is a huge underdog in this race. So it's safe to say that they need to make a statement. And it starts with Team Penske. That's their anchor team. So if Ford's going to bust out of their slump, Team Penske is going to have to be the team that does it. I mean, RFK Racing's run well lately. Chris Buescher, good on road courses. We'll have more on him when we get to best bets. But Team Penske, they've got to carry the banner this week. And I think it's possible. I mean, Cindric runs well at road courses. Blaney, I think, is getting a little slept on in this spot, as well as Logano. All right, y'all. And our last topic before we get to the bets. All right, here we go. Chevrolet or Toyota? Who's the top manufacturer this week? And they both have some couple of new cars in there. You know, the Colleague Racing has that extra car, gives Chevy another bullet in the holster, as well as getting SVG in there. And then Toyota's got Kobayashi with 2311, give them an extra seat. But I would still say Chevrolet is probably the top dog because you not only had you had 2 really good road course drivers in Allmendinger and Van Gisbergen. On top of, you already got Trackhouse. Their guys run really well here. Chastain and Suarez. Chastain is a former winner here, won the 2022 race. We all know how good Hendrick's guys are on road courses and how good they run here. And then even RCR with Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch has led laps here, run well before. Kyle Busch, I think a lot of people forget Kyle Busch is a road course guy. Kyle Busch can handle business on road courses. He finished runner-up, I believe, in the Roval last year against AJ Allmendinger. So, I mean, there's so many strong Chevrolets. And Toyota's got good guys, too. Don't get me wrong. Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell. I mean, even Denny Hamlin. He's not really a road course guy, but he's always capable of running up front no matter where we go. Martin Truex Jr. So they've got guys, but they just don't have the numbers like Chevrolet. I mean, Chevrolet, all four Hendrick guys are threats here. Kyle Busch is a threat here. SVG and Allmendinger, that's 7. And the 2 Trackhouse, because that's 9 cars that I seriously think could win that are Chevrolet drivers. That's something. Where Toyota has really only got 5. You got Reddick and the 4 JGR car. That's about it, because Bubba's not that great on road courses. And Kobayashi, he's got the skills, but I don't think he's quite got enough to contend for the win. Same with the legacy cars, JHN and Eric Jones. I don't see them being contenders for the win. So, yeah, it's a numbers game. Chevy's got the numbers, so to me, they're the top manufacturer this week. But wouldn't shock me if Toyota keeps going, because, they've got the last 2 weeks of race wins. Chevy won the first 3 weeks. Toyota's got the last 2. And they won the COTA race last year with Tyler Reddick. Chevrolet won the first 2 editions with Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain. So if I had to pick, I would say it'll be Chevrolet again this year. But it wouldn't shock me if one of those Toyotas took it. But anyway, that's my thoughts on this weekend's COTA race, the main storylines. We'll see how all those end up. Let's now get to our best bets, where we'll run through the field real quick, and then we'll pull up our best bets here on the screen. I'll just go through it here. Yeah, Tyler Reddick, a heavy favorite. Him and Chase Elliott, the only ones with odds better than 10-1. And you got Ty Gibbs and SVG there at 10-1. Kyle Larson now at 11-1. William Byron and Christopher Bell at 12-1. AJ Allmendinger at 13-1, followed by Chastain at 14-1. McDowell 15-1. Truex 16-1. Then there's a little gap. Kyle Busch 22-1, along with Daniel Suarez and Alex Bowman. Denny Hamlin at 25-1. Chris Buescher and Austin Cindric 28-1. Then there's another significant gap before we get to Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. Longer shots there at 45-1. Then Camus Kobayashi 55-1, along with Chase Briscoe. Brad Keselowski, an even longer shot, 80-1. Then we get to our super long shots here at 100-1. Ty Gilliland, Justin Haley, Eric Jones, Carson Hocevar, and Bubba Wallace. Then Noah Gragson 120-1. Zane Smith, Ryan Preece, Josh Berry, and Austin Dillon 150. JHN 200. Corey LaJoie 250. Harrison Burton, Daniel Hemrick 300. And then to round it out, Timmy Hill, Kaz Grala, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at 400-1. So safe to say, I will not be touching them as far as betting. If your odds are that long, there's a reason for that. So Ricky Stenhouse still finished top 10 last year. I'm really surprised that he's buried down among the guys that they think have no chance. So, JTG, they haven't been great this year, but Stenhouse is solid, like I talked about last week. So I kind of feel like they might be sleeping on Ricky a little bit there. I wouldn't bet on him to win. Maybe top 10 might be some value. We'll get to that in a little bit. But let's discuss our picks here. You see them scrolling across the screen. We'll start with top 10. We can actually pull up top 10. For some reason, I don't have top 5 listed right now. Just winner and top 3. We'll have to reference some other books for top 5. But here's top 10. So our top 10 bets that I like, the prices aren't as good as they were yesterday here at DraftKings, but I think they might still be at these same rates over at the other books. I think BetMGM and FanDuel had a little better prices. I feel like BetMGM, they have the best prices for NASCAR. Might have to start pulling up their odds here on the screen, because they seem like they do a little bit better job of giving you value. But anyway, top 10, Austin Cindric at plus 125. I feel like that's a good price for Cindric. To me, anything more favorable than even money. Like, I mean, if he was like minus 125, I'd be like, that's okay. I'd maybe bet on that. But plus 125, I'm betting that because Cindric runs really well at road courses. He's finished top 10 the past 2 years here at COTA. Even ran okay in his first start there, the crazy rain race. He was in that fourth Penske car at 33 and did okay here. But the past 2 years, he's done well. Don't expect him to contend for the win, although you never know. He could be a sleeper pick to win this thing potentially. I think he's at 28-1, so probably wouldn't take that. But if you're feeling just want something solid, a solid play, I feel like Austin Cindric to finish top 10 is a very solid play at plus 125. And then his teammate Ryan Blaney plus 225, I think is also a pretty decent play because I think people are sleeping on Blaney. I know he's not a road course guy, but he's capable of running top 10 anywhere we go. I mean, he's our defending Cup Series champion. I mean, Ryan Blaney is more than capable of getting good results. So I think at plus 225, you're getting value there. He finished top 10 here in 2022, and I think Ford's getting a little bit slept on. I know Chevy and Toyota have the numbers, but I think a couple of these Fords are going to break through, and I think Blaney could be one of them. Now, speaking of Fords, moving on to top 5, Chris Buescher, 4-1 to finish top 5. I think that's a good price. That was also at DraftKings or FanDuel. I mean, BetMGM or FanDuel. They don't have top 5 odds up at the moment here on DraftKings. But yeah, Chris Buescher, y'all, I think is a good play this week. He finished top 10 here last year, and he did really good at road courses last year. People forget that Chris Buescher is a very solid road course racer. He's got a great skill set. The only thing he's a little lacking at are the intermediates, like the 1.5 miles. But outside of those, I mean, he's a really good short track racer, really good super speedway racer, and also a really good road course racer. This dude has very few holes in his game. He is one of the most slept on Cup Series regulars. And so RFK Racing been doing really well lately. I think Buescher could keep that momentum going. And to me, at 4-1, that is a bargain. To me, he should be more like 3-1 because I feel like it's one of those things. He had a field stacked, but I feel like if he ran this race 3 times, he'd for sure get in there at least once. But to me, if you run it 4 times, like he's definitely getting in there at least once. I know he got it last year, but I think he could very well do it again because he's a guy that has the skills to run well at road courses. So our next top 5 pick is Ross Chastain, plus 225. To me, that might be the best bet on this whole board. I mean, Ross Chastain is great here at COTA. This is probably his best track. I mean, he even ran well here with Chip Ganassi Racing in 2021. Led the most laps and won in 2022. Ran well here again last year. I mean, this dude, he's right up there at Reddick. I can't believe he's not getting more love from the odds makers here. I mean, I know he hadn't been that quite as strong lately. I know Trackhouse been a little down to start this season, but I mean, Suarez won in Atlanta. Chastain's run pretty well. I mean, it's not like they're terrible. I mean, they're still one of the better Chevy teams. Like, they're definitely been running better than RCR or Colleague. Like, you can make a case they're the second best Chevrolet team right now. So I don't see why they're sleeping on Ross. Plus 225 is a bargain. I mean, anything better than 2-1 for him is a must play. So I will definitely go play that over at MGM. I believe that one. You can get Chastain at that plus 225 price. All right, top 3, y'all. Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, my pick to finish top 3. Mentioned him earlier. I like Ty Gibbs this week. This kid is on a roll right now. He didn't quite get the finish he deserved last week at Bristol. Led a lot of laps, but he kind of messed up a little bit with the tire situation. Only finished 8th, I believe. Could have done a little better if he'd have managed them like his teammates Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr., but still a solid day for the Gibbs kid. I mean, this kid is really showing that he deserves that seat. Rookie year was a tad rocky, but not bad. He almost made the playoffs, but I think this year he's really on the verge of something special. I think he could win multiple races this year. And while he might not be able to quite get it done this week, a top 3 finish, very realistic. He's among the favorites there to win this thing. And so if you want to take a flyer on him at 10-1 to win, go ahead. But I think top 3 is a little more realistic, and at plus 340, you're getting a pretty good value on him to do so. He's only 3-1 though here at DraftKings. I think this plus 340 price was over at FanDuel. So go check and see if he's still priced at that. If not, I mean, here DraftKings is not bad. 3-1. I'd probably still play that. And then my pick to win, y'all, 14-1 over at, I believe, also FanDuel, maybe MGM. Just shop around. These prices change all the time. But Kyle Larson, y'all, that's my pick to win this week. This will be the second time I've picked him to win, and the first time I did, he actually did. I picked him to win Las Vegas, and he went on to dominate that race. So we'll see if he can deliver for me. Again, I think there's a good chance he could because he is a great road course racer. He didn't really get the results he would have liked last year. He was kind of disappointed at the road courses, didn't win any road course races, but he's run well here at COTA before. He's the 2021 runner-up here. And I just think from a betting standpoint, you're getting value because to me, he should be priced about the same as Chase Elliott. I feel like him and William Byron are getting a little bit slept on. I just feel like Larson, though, tad more talented at these road courses. Byron was also really good. I mean, I could see betting on him as well. I had Byron in my best plays last week. He got messed over in that early wreck. I thought about making him the pick again this week, but I was like, you know what, give me Kyle Larson, man. This dude, he's so talented at these road courses. I think he's due to break through and get the win here. I like Chase Elliott too, but from a betting standpoint, it's like, nah, I'm not betting on him. Plus, his team hadn't been quite at the level of Kyle Larson. Larson been the best Hendrick car so far. He's tied for the points lead. He is on track for a special season. I think he wins 5-6 races this year. So I'm going to say he wins his second race of the year this week at COTA, although it wouldn't shock me one bit if we get our sixth winner of 2024. So far, we've had William Byron, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and Denny Hamlin. So we'll see if we can get number 6 this week. The odds say Tyler Reddick could join that party, which would be our third Toyota winner in a row. But a lot of Chevy guys up there as well, as you can see here on the odds chart. So that's going to do it, though, for our best bet segment. Take that for what you will. Like I said, I can't win them all, can't guarantee anything, but it just, I just enjoy going over it. Plus, it's just a good way to break down the field, see who the odds makers like. Because, I mean, these odds makers, they study this stuff a lot. They're not going to just give you free money opportunities. If they see a trend, they're going to spot it and adjust the odds accordingly. So anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. Appreciate everyone that's tuned in. We're going to try to cut some YouTube shorts. Sorry, we couldn't do any for the first week's episode. We're going to try to change up that style a little bit for the first one. We're going to try to make it more centered around the prospects of NASCAR as opposed to just recapping last week's race. I mean, we'll probably touch on last week's Cup race a little bit, but I mean, this show is called Spencer Talks NASCAR, not just Spencer Talks NASCAR Cup Series. So we're going to try to expand a little bit into the Xfinity and truck world and talk about who the top prospects are in the sport, who's on their way to making the Cup Series, the road to Cup. We're going to talk about the process a little bit. We can talk more about guys like Shane Van Gisbergen and stuff, see how they're doing down in the lower ranks. So we'll have more on that next week, but we'll sign off here on this one. Enjoy COTA this weekend, and good luck to anyone placing wagers and all that. But yeah, for those that just love the sport like I do, we're going to have a lot of fun Sunday seeing how the first road course race of 2024 goes. So Spencer Urquhart signing off. This has been another episode of Spencer Talk NASCAR. Peace out, y'all.